Warning, the following video may contain crap about why Bugeras are so awesome. Dun 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 dun, Bugera. This section of my video is going to be labelled Bugerian myths. Or just rumours that are flowing around about Bugera. Bugera are kind of not Behringer amps as such, but they are owned by Behringer in the same way that Fender owns Squier, etc, etc. And, excuse me, basically these are like the elite of Behringer. Behringer are the cheap side of things, yes. Doesn't mean they're necessarily bad, I'm not putting down Behringer products, but I'm saying these are the elites, they're the valve amps, they are the really well made stuff by Behringer. Hence why it's a little bit more money. But they're cheaper because these are reasons that I find that they're cheaper. Their name isn't out yet. They haven't been around long enough. They haven't proven themselves in a big industry. No famous artists have actually used them in recordings or live yet. The only famous artist I've ever seen that I know of that's played these is Hugh from Galarius. And he made it sound bloody good. Okay, so, and the other reason why they're not so expensive is simply because they are well priced. They're not made for £500 and charging £3,000 for them, or dollars, or wherever you are. Another myth around them is that they break a lot. I've had this said to me by like 3 people who have never actually owned a Bugera, but one of them said he knew a band, I'm not going to mention their name. He had a Bugera head, and I do know them, and he said it broke and had to get it sent off and repaired, but he still got it and he still used it because he used it live when we played with them, and it's bloody nice. It sounded really nice. He has the 333 XL. Basically, he also then went on to explain how this guy's gone through so many amp heads, it's unbelievable, and he doesn't know what he's doing looking after a Erdemore tube amp. And to be honest, nor do I fully, but I've been doing my research and I know a lot more than I used to. Another myth is... Yeah, no wait, I'm not finished on that one yet. So they're not cheaply made at all. All this is really nicely made, it's really well built. And just because they're made in China doesn't mean that the Chinese aren't going to make a good amp. I mean, yeah, they're made in China, so what? So are these. They're a Japanese company. They're made in China because it's cheap labour. This tin is probably made in China, you know? If you look on pretty much any product like that's common in your house, it will say made in China on it somewhere. And that's just because it's cheaper to make them there and ship them over, not because they're crap. I mean, would you call like half your tellies or your freebie boxes, your video players, DVD players, your Xbox? If you have an Xbox, you wouldn't call that crap because it's made in China. Neither of these. They're just as good as any other amp, construction wise, okay? And for that matter, sound wise. I think they're brilliant sounding amps. And so do so many other people, because they simply are. Very reminiscent to an amp with a similar name to it. I guess another myth is that they're not going to sound that great, because I only paid £380 for this head, including delivery, roughly. I'm going to close my window so you don't have to listen to that racket. Yeah, anyway, like I was saying, for £380, it sounds like £2,000, you know? It's beautiful sound, it's got high quality equipment in it, the tubes, the preamp tubes, power tubes, it's all brilliant sounding. And just to demonstrate how well this amp is built, I'm just going to take you an overview of the things about it. Many of the amps with these switches here for the standby power switch have these made of a cheap plastic little push switch. These are solid metal vintage style knobs. These chicken head knobs are solid, although they're plastic. You would be very hard done by to snap these, I'll tell you now. And some amps you can just pull them off really easily. These are really well secured. And ow, that hurt my finger. And it's just like everything's really well built. Everything that looks metal probably is, you know. I'm pretty sure that this is metal because it's cold to the touch and it certainly feels metal. These front grills are really well constructed, they're not flimsy as such. Well, I say as such, they're just not flimsy. These handles here for winding your leads around are all good. The back plates, everything's really well done. even on the cab too, you know, thick walls, nice good grill on it. This isn't coming loose, it's all straight, it's nice around the edges. Again, the logo's good, everything's just really well built on it. So, if that isn't proof enough for you, I'm not going to throw it out my window because that will probably break it, because, you know, second story fall will break anything that you throw out your window probably, apart from like a cannonball or your cat. Oh, Matt, cats can't fly. Crap. Another myth about them, an unusual one, sort of, in a way, is that they just explode and start smoking and stuff like that. And I think this is just people who have got some kind of snobbery about them, that the big ant makes are the only ones. And it may even be people from those ant makes. I mean, I've never heard of an ant overloading and smoking. If they get too hot, they just cut out, usually. I mean, it's not going to overload and smoke, that's just pure stupidity, to say the least. But yeah, hopefully that solves some Bulgarian myths for you. And yeah, I shall now plug it in and play it on a fairly low volume. In fact, a very low volume. The lowest volume I can probably muster and still get some sound coming out of it, you know, because I'm in a bedroom. My friends get annoyed with me if I'm playing too loudly, and they're not in the best mood at the moment because we've got a leak downstairs and my dad's trying to fix that. So let's see if I can get away with playing it without my dad yelling at me. I'll dial in some times quickly. I'll be using the camera mic, unfortunately. But I will mic this up and make a recording of it, and perhaps redo an old song or something. Or if you look at one of our other videos, although this is the man YouTube, I entered a competition on here called Give Me a Riff competition. If you look at my video reply to that, that will give you an idea of what I can do micing things up. I'll re-record that riff using this and the tone that I dial in at. But yeah, next part, warming up. Okay, so here's a clean tone through a humbucker, gains at about 5, EQ, we got 6 on the treble, just below 5 on the mids, and about 7 on the bass, with the bright switch off. Okay, so I'm switching to humbucker combined with a single coil. So this is just the single coil. And here's the neck pickup. Okay, so this is about 6 o'clock gain on the crunch setting with the humbucker. Get rid of the reverb first. Click it into my favourite part of this amp, the lead channel. Here I have the mids at about 4 again, the treble at 6 and the gain at 7. So pretty much the same EQ, as close as the F word is to swearing, with the gain on 7. I think I may have already said that, and the present is at 8. And with a little response. Let's go for a little stuff. Change it. That's quite loud by my house's standards. You get the idea. Here comes the disclaimer. All music in the backing tracks of this video are copyrighted either me, Matt Purkis, or the band Akaviri, or both. So don't use them without our permission. Oh yeah, and